Indonesia is a country of more than 270 million people, making it the fourth most populous nation in the world. It is an archipelago of over 17,000 islands, hundreds of ethnic groups, dozens of local languages, and countless cultural identities. But if there is one thing that connects people across geography, class, religion, and background, it is football. From narrow village streets to crowded urban neighborhoods, from schoolyards to massive stadiums, football is everywhere in Indonesia. It is not just a sport, it is a language, a ritual, and for many, a source of identity and hope. In Indonesia, supporting football team is not a casual hobby. It is emotional, it is inherited, and nowhere is this passion more visible than in the way Indonesian fans support their national team. However, passion does not always lead to success. And in recent years, Indonesian football fans have experienced repeated heartbreaks, failure that have left not only disappointment, but also frustration, anger, and difficult questions about the future. This video explores football culture in Indonesia, the unique mentality of its fans, and the collective disappointment following several painful failures of the national teams on the international stage.
We have a lot of players also from abroad, also me. And we appreciate this opportunity to play for our country, for our parents, for our grandparents. And we are all Indonesia, we are all trying to defend the country. So thank you.
To understand Indonesian football fans, we must first understand how football lives within society. Football arrived in Indonesia during the Dutch colonial era, and over time it became embedded in local communities. Clubs were not just sporting institutions, they represented cities, regions, and social pride. Even today, many Indonesian clubs have supporters who see themselves not just as fans, but as guardians of identity. Supporting a team means loyalty, often unconditional. Fans travel long distances, spend money they cannot easily afford, and sacrifice time and energy for matches that may bring nothing in return. In Indonesia, football fandom is deeply collective. Matches are watched together in homes, roadside cafes, small food stalls, or massive public screenings. A goal scored by the national team is celebrated like a national holiday. A loss feels like a shared wound. This culture produces one of the most passionate fan base in the world, loud, colorful, creative, and deeply emotional. But passion alone is not enough to build a successful football system. Indonesian football fans are often misunderstood. From the outside, they are seen as overly emotional, impatient, and sometimes even aggressive. But this perception ignores the deeper social and historical context behind Indonesian fandom. For many Indonesians, supporting a football team, especially the national team, is not a form of entertainment. It is an emotional commitment. Football loyalty in Indonesia is often inherited. People do not choose their teams, they are born into them. A father supports a club or the national team, and his children grow up wearing the same colors, singing the same chants, carrying the same hopes. This creates a form of identity that is deeply personal yet collective. When the national team plays, fans do not simply watch a match. They invest their pride, their emotions, and their sense of belonging into 90 minutes of football. This is why victories feel euphoric, but defeats feel devastating. What makes Indonesian fandom especially painful is not just the losses themselves, but the length of suffering. For decades, Indonesian football has promised progress but rarely delivered consistency. Every generation of fans grow up hearing the same narrative. This team is different. This generation is better. This time we are ready. And every time hope returns. But hope, when repeated too often without fulfillment, turns into emotional exhaustion. Yet fans never fully leave. They complain, they criticize, they protest. But when the next tournament arrives, they come back. Because being an Indonesian football fan is not about results, it's about endurance. For the first time in many years, the dream of qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup felt realistic. The expansion of the World Cup meant more slots for Asian teams. Indonesia showed signs of structural improvement. There was a growing belief that the national team was finally becoming competitive at the continental level. Fans did not dream of winning the World Cup, they dreamed of something much simpler: participation. To see Indonesia's flag on the world's biggest football stage, to hear the national anthem played at the World Cup match, to finally feel included in global football history. This dream was powerful because it was grounded in logic, not fantasy. When the qualification campaign failed, the disappointment was profound, not because fans expected miracles, but because they felt that Indonesian football once again fell short at the critical moment. The failure was interpreted not just as a loss on the pitch, but as evidence of deeper issues: mental fragility, lack of preparation, and the inability to handle pressure. For fans who had waited their entire lives, this was not just another defeat. It was a reminder that Indonesian football remains trapped between potential and reality.
To be honest, it's difficult to say. First of all, we blame ourselves, We had some chances. I think we did very well in the most part, but we didn't reward ourselves with the goal. And yeah, it's difficult because I always try to be respectful and I always try to respect everybody, the referees, the organization, everything. But today some things happened in my opinion, we're not from this experience and try to develop and try to qualify for the next World Cup. So yeah, that's it.
JWino and all of supporters of Indonesia will thanks to you and your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In Indonesia, youth tournaments are often seen as symbols of the future. When the Indonesia Under-17 national team reached the global stage, Expectations were cautiously optimistic. This was supposed to be proof that youth development was improving, that long-term planning was finally working. But reality was far less inspiring. The team struggled to compete at the highest level. The gap in quality, decision-making, and tactical understanding became painfully obvious. For fans, this was not simply about losing matches. It was about realizing that the foundation itself was fragile. If youth teams fail to compete internationally, then the problems are not limited to coaching or player performance, they are systemic. The under-17 failure reinforced a familiar fear that Indonesian football continues to prioritize short-term appearance over genuine long-term development. And for fans who had been told to be patient and trust the process, this was deeply discouraging.
Patrick itu tak ada gunanya. Patrick tak ada gunanya.
No discussion about recent Indonesian football disappointment is complete without addressing one of the most controversial moments in recent history, the dismissal of Shin Tae-yong and the appointment of Patrick Kluivert. For many Indonesian fans, Shin Tae-yong was more than just a head coach. He symbolized structure, discipline, and long-term direction, qualities that Indonesian football had long struggled to maintain. Under Shin Tae-yong, Indonesia may not have achieved historic trophies, but there was a visible sense of progress. The team became more competitive, physical conditioning improved, young players were trusted, and for the first time in years, fans could see a clear footballing identity taking shape. Most importantly, Shin Tae-yong represents continuity. In a football culture known for frequent coaching changes, his presence suggested patience, something Indonesian football desperately needed. So, when his dismissal was announced, the reaction was immediate and intense. For many fans, it felt abrupt, confusing, and deeply unsettling. The timing raised questions, the reasoning felt unclear, and once again, supporters were left wondering whether Indonesian football had chosen short-term reactions over long-term vision.
Famous victory for Indonesia. Team Garuda, white shirt, accepts the defeat, offers his handshake to Shin Tae-yong, but ecstasy for Indonesia. Noah Izet, outstanding at centre-back. Shin Tae-yong takes the applause. Oh, there was talk, there was concern after the Japan defeat. Now it's all smiles, now it's all celebrations.
Next, in the SEA Games, the failure where success is expected. Unlike global tournaments, the SEA Games carry a different emotional weight. In Southeast Asia, Indonesia is not an underdog. It is expected to compete for gold. The under-2022 team's failure at the SEA Games was therefore particularly painful. This was not about facing world-class opponents, this was about losing in a region where Indonesia believes it belongs at the top. Fans interpreted this failure as a loss of regional authority. It raised uncomfortable questions. If Indonesia struggles in Southeast Asia, how can it compete in Asia or the world? For many supporters, this loss felt embarrassing rather than tragic. An embarrassment often hurts more than defeat.
Membuat peluang peluang melalui throw-in. Lihat.
Sangat berbahaya dan langsung menjadi malapetaka bagi pasukan Garuda Muda Otubanata.
So, why failure hurts Indonesian fans so deeply? Football failure in Indonesia is never just about football. It is about representation. For many fans, the national team represents dignity, progress, and international recognition. When the team fails, it feels like the country itself is being left behind. This is why criticism becomes emotional. This is why social media reactions are intense. This is why disappointment sometimes turns into anger. Fans are not only reacting to 90 minutes of football, they are reacting to decades of unmet expectations. At the end, Indonesia has a fan base that refuses to give up. Indonesian football fans are not loyal because the team always wins. They are loyal because the team represents who they are. In failure, they suffer together. In hope, they believe together. And until success finally arrives, Indonesian football fans will continue to stand in the rain, sing in empty victories, and dream of a future that has not yet come. Because in Indonesia, football is not just a game, it is a promise still waiting to be fulfilled. Well, that's all from today's video. Thank you for watching.